Donald Trump just won't back off. Days after a federal judge stopped him from sending National Guard troops to Portland, he's now pushing 300 troops into Chicago. His message seems loud and clear. If one city blocks him, he'll just move to another. But this time, legal experts are warning that the same mistake might repeat itself, and it could get even more complicated. In our last video, we broke down how Judge Karin Immergut, who, by the way, was appointed by Trump himself, blocked his plan to deploy troops from California and Texas into Portland. The reason? She said the federal government couldn't override a state's sovereignty. Basically, the White House can't just send troops into a state without the governor's consent. But only a few days later, Trump authorized 300 National Guard troops for Chicago, saying he's cracking down on crime. According to the Pentagon, these troops are being pulled from other states, including California, the same state that joined Oregon in suing to stop the first deployment. That means Trump isn't backing down. He's doubling down. Let's break it down. The Chicago plan came almost immediately after the Portland ruling. The Pentagon confirmed that troops were reassigned to support immigration enforcement and protect federal assets. But here's what makes this story even more dramatic. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he never asked for troops. In fact, he called the move Trump's invasion and accused the president of trying to turn American cities into war zones. He told CNN that the White House was creating chaos just to justify using force. And he's not alone. Other Democratic governors are calling this a dangerous power grab that could spiral into legal battles across multiple states. So far, the White House hasn't responded to the court's new block, and Trump's legal team is already appealing the earlier Portland ruling. But many believe this new Chicago order could face the same fate, just in a different courtroom. If you're following how Trump keeps testing the limits of presidential power, make sure you're subscribed. We break down these big political shifts in plain English, every day, without the noise. Now, here's where things get interesting. Trump says these deployments are about protecting federal officials and buildings. But critics say it's more about political theater, showing that he can take action in Democrat-led cities where local leaders often oppose him. Some legal experts argue he's walking a thin line with the Posse Comitatus Act, a federal law that prevents the military from being used for domestic policing without congressional approval. And since the National Guard can be federalized under presidential authority, it creates a gray area, one that Trump seems to be using again and again. Remember, this isn't the first time he's done it. Earlier this year, he sent troops to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., also without state approval. Those moves were later challenged, and one California judge even ruled that deployment illegal. So, what we're seeing here is a pattern, a test of limits. Every time Trump gets blocked in one state, he looks for another opening. And that's what makes this moment critical. Because if the Chicago deployment stands, it could set a precedent. Future presidents, not just Trump, could cite it to justify sending troops into any state they want, whenever they want. That's why many governors are pushing back hard. They say this isn't just about Trump, it's about preserving state control and stopping what they call federal overreach. But Trump supporters see it differently. They say cities like Chicago need federal intervention because of rising crime and local inaction. They're framing this as a test of strength, Trump versus the establishment, once again. Here's the bigger picture. Just a week ago, Trump was blocked in Portland. Now, he's sending troops to Chicago. The same legal walls are still standing, but Trump is finding new doors to walk through. And this is why it matters. If courts allow this move to go forward, the line between state and federal power could blur even more. If they stop him again, we might be seeing the beginning of a constitutional standoff between the presidency and the states, something America hasn't faced in decades. Either way, one thing is clear, this fight isn't over. And if you missed our last breakdown about the Portland ruling, the one that started this whole battle, go check it out after this video. It'll give you the full backstory behind what's quickly becoming one of Trump's boldest moves yet.